This
not legal or
conference will
financial
now be
advice.
recorded.
Okay, sorry. um, and also, something else I really don't want to do is debate any of our state or local governments' decisions and their emergency orders or disaster declarations. On this call, our purpose is to provide information. So just so everyone is on the same page, our current situation, the governor's current executive orders are limiting social gatherings to 10 or fewer people. It is closed eating and drinking at bars and restaurants within the dining room. So takeout, as we know, is still open. It is closed gyms, prohibited visitors at nursing homes. As of a few days ago, healthcare professionals must postpone all surgeries that are not medically necessary. Beyond that, the governor does seem somewhat hesitant to establish a statewide shelter-in-place order. He is requesting that businesses follow best practices now so that maybe we don't have to issue a statewide shelter-in-place order. And those best practices, just so you know, and you might be able to use at your workplace, control who enters the workplace. Limit to only those essential employees who can't fulfill their jobs from home. You may notice that City Hall, for example, is closed to visitors. Proper screening of employees. So if you've got an employee that says they feel sick, they think they have a fever, they have a dry cough, make them go home. Controlling employee behavior on site. So that break room that everybody enjoyed at lunch, let's have people eat lunch at their desks. Make sure that you're doing heightened sanitation. I would encourage you all, and rather than me reading out websites, I'm going to give you things to search for. So take notes on this instead of a lot of / whatever's. I'm going to tell you to search for the CDC's interim guidance for businesses and employers. It's the CDC interim guidance for businesses and employers. Also search for the U.S. Department of Labor's OSHA guidance for COVID-19. Those should be very helpful in providing some things that you can do at the workplace so that we can keep our employees working as long as possible. A little bit about our economic future. We've done initial analysis. I'm not afraid to be blunt and say that our unemployment and sales tax numbers for the next 2 months at least will be very severely impacted. I'm not afraid to say that out loud because there's not a city in America that's not facing the same issue. We have seen some estimates around the country, and I don't want to give a firm number right now because we have no idea what it's going to look like. And just know that those are somewhat lagging indicators. Unemployment is a lagging indicator because the information comes out, our unemployment numbers come out a month after the unemployment has actually occurred. Sales tax numbers come out 2 months after the sales have occurred. So we won't know the true impact of this from an analysis standpoint for a long time. Therefore, it is super important for us to continue working as safely as we can for as long as we can. As far as unemployment goes, Governor Abbott waived 2 important regulations regarding unemployment benefits. Typically, the Texas Workforce Commission cannot pay for the first week of an unemployment claim. That's known as the waiting week. That regulation has been waived. Previously, to be eligible for unemployment benefits, applicants were required to register for work search and meet a certain number of work search activities per week. That has also been waived temporarily. I'm going to give you something to search for again. If you search Texas Workforce Commission unemployment benefits, that's where you'll find all of the regulations for registering for unemployment. And then also, if you are a business and you have had to lay off employees, Texas Workforce Commission does have a rapid response unit that can help. Let's say that maybe you feel like your employees will be laid off temporarily. Well, they can help you in your business share your employees with another business. So search Texas Workforce Commission Business Rapid Response. Going to move on to some federal issues. The Family First Coronavirus Response Act. This was the one that was signed on March 19th. We anticipate there will be another one hopefully coming today, but it may not be today. But this one so far has covered emergency sick leave, emergency family leave, and employer tax credits. This is a whole lot of information, so I'm going to skim just the very top and tell you to search your state and national industry pages and association pages for specifics on this. But essentially, let me go through some very high-level questions. Do I have to pay employees if they are not working? Ordinarily, the rule is that hourly employees are paid only for the time they work, but this new act will require small employers to provide 2 weeks, that's 10 days of emergency paid sick leave. In addition, the act will require FMLA to take care of a child when their school or daycare has been closed. Salaried exempt employees must still be paid their normal salary as long as they perform any work within the week. The only exception is if the employee chooses to stop work for personal reasons. There is a lot of information regarding circumstances under which those employees receive emergency paid sick leave, the number of hours of emergency paid sick leave. There's regulations regarding rate of pay, PTO. So go to your state and national business associations. If you have trouble finding the info, email Wayne or myself, and we will push it out to you. Moving on to SBA. So Texas is now eligible for Texas businesses. Let me back up. Texas businesses are now eligible for SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Assistance. Those loans are in amounts up to $2 million. For a definition of small, please go to sba.gov/size. Those are used for fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills affected by the disaster. It's a 3.75% interest rate for up to a maximum of 30 years. Now that I've told you that, let me give you this caveat. From everything we have heard, these loans will be very difficult to obtain. A business has to prove that they have exhausted all of their other lines of credit in order to be eligible for these loans. That in some cases could even mean credit cards. So the information that I have been given has encouraged people to go talk to their bankers first. You need to have that conversation anyway if you are going to apply for this type of loan, but see what your local bank can do for you. I'm going to quote Ron Collins here in Nedco's entrepreneurship classes. Ron always says, if you are a small business and you think you are going to be late on a small business loan payment, talk to your banker before you're late. I can't promise, and our banks can't promise that they can do anything. Please don't think I'm saying that, but at least have the conversation before the payment is due. There might be some other lines of credit that they can offer. There might be some deferments that they can offer. They might be able to hold your hand walking through the SBA loan process. So please, please, please talk to your bankers before you shut the doors, before you are late on any of your loan payments. If you do go through the SBA process, just know that it's all online, sba.gov/disaster. They require quite a bit of financial information, and then also just know that typically those loans take about 4 weeks to process, and that is in a regional disaster. Consider the fact that this is a nationwide disaster, and that process is probably going to be extended much, much beyond a typical 4-week period. So last but not least, and I apologize, I'm a little bit over my time, I encourage everybody to work on a plan. Studies have shown that your anxiety decreases when you're given tasks that you can complete, and when you can plan for future events. So here's some tips on what you can do for your emergency plan. Communication. A central component of managing crises is consistent communication with your employees, your business partners, and your community to minimize this disruption. This includes stating an appropriate policy to reduce your business's exposure to the virus, outline precautions that your employees need to take as guided by the CDC. So just give your employees information. Give your suppliers and your customers information. Push that out as much as you can through all of the channels that you can. Explore alternate work options. you need to be talking about this now. We are not in a shelter-in-place environment, but we are in a, if you can work from home, do it environment. I've given this example more times than I can count, but I'm going to do it again. Weeks ago, there was an organization in Seattle when the virus was just hitting Seattle, and things were getting pretty bad, and it was a tech company, and the tech company's president said, you know what, Sunday night, I've decided we need to all work from home. And so he sent the message out to all of his employees, and a good number of them, probably half or so, had left all of their laptops at the office. So in the midst of this viral outbreak, they all had to go back out into public, back to the office, and pick up their laptops and bring them back home to work. Think about what if we weren't in a pandemic and the office had burned down over the weekend? They would be without that infrastructure completely. So just think about always being prepared to work from home. Identify your critical functions and determine the key employees needed to fulfill those functions. It may be necessary to minimize their exposure so that the critical functions of your business can go on. So do you have somebody that absolutely has to work at your business to keep things going? Think about how much you can protect that person to minimize disruption. Reduce the amount of visits by suppliers and vendors. Establish a protocol that limits employee interaction with deliveries. And also assess possible financial implications of revenue loss, travel restrictions, supply chain disruptions. Let's all think about the fact that the things that we normally get from China and India may not be coming. They're 2 to 3 months behind in some cases. So you need to think about that today. What are you going to do when your supply of your inventory starts running low? And also explore external resources that could alleviate those pressures. Do you have alternate suppliers? Do you have a network of businesses similar to yours where you guys could pool supplies? And then also, I don't think that Amy is going to be able to make it on the call, so I'm just going to cover the city and the county real fast. We do have 0 confirmed cases in Nacogdoches. With that said, it's common sense to act as though there are cases here. That means following the CDC guidance. So if we truly have no cases and we follow those guidelines and act as though there are cases, we might actually prevent an outbreak, or at least lessen an outbreak in Nacogdoches. Know that the Emergency Operations Center is working diligently and is in 100% cooperation with the city, the county, SFA, and both hospitals. I wish that you all could see it because it's reassuring to see how hard those folks are working and how closely they are working together. I'm just making a plea to not make those folks' jobs harder than they already are. And then reiterate again that there's a lot of guidance online, and if you have trouble finding any of this information, feel free to email me. My email address is lphilpott@nedco.org, or send questions to Wayne. Thank you.
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you for that excellent update, Larissa. And I think Amy did not make it on the phone call, did she?
She did not. She had to do an interview with KTRE, and so she asked me to cover herself and then the judge. Of course, they had a county commissioners meeting, so I covered the city and the county.
I do appreciate that. Next, we're going to hear from an education update. I've asked Les Linebarger from the NISD and also Dr. Todd Brown if they give us from SFA to give us a quick update on activities associated with those two great institutions. Les, you want to go first?
Sure, Wayne. Thank you very much. We've got plenty of things going on here in the district. We've got we have locations for students to get grab and go lunches that also include food for the following day's breakfast. There's 5 locations for that: Emmeline Carpenter, BQJ Elementary, Fredonia Elementary, and at NISD Central Kitchen, which is located on Hughes Street. The 5th location opens today, and that's at Mike Moses Middle School on Park Street. Also, mobile delivery of meals begins today, with school buses and district vehicles carrying meals to areas in the district, including out in the county. The routes and estimated delivery times can be found on the district's website and Facebook page. And there will likely be changes to that in the coming days as we see which routes are busier than others. Paper packet pickup began Monday at all campuses, except for Nacogdoches High School, which starts today. This is an effort to get materials in the hands of students who don't have adequate internet connection at home. And the schedules for the pickups can be found on our website, and that's nacisd.org. Also, there are links on our website to online learning resources, including some Google Classrooms for our teachers at all campuses. And that site will continue to be updated. And then finally, Thursday night, we have an abbreviated school board meetings planned. This would have been the Thursday night for our regular board meeting. We're going to conduct that as a meeting online using the app called Zoom, which is similar to this GoToMeeting app. To get connected to that meeting, if you want to watch, there's information on the homepage of our website, once again at nacisd.org. There are 3 agenda items: budget amendments, a resolution concerning the COVID-19 virus, and the hiring of a new superintendent. We're still moving forward on that. Nearly 3 weeks ago, the board approved naming Dr. Gabriel Trujillo as the lone finalist, and then we had to wait 21 days as state law stipulates. He is an area superintendent with Grand Prairie ISD over in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and the board will be finalizing his hiring Thursday night. Wayne, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Les. I appreciate that. Dr. Brown from SFA?
Yes, we have closed our campus for classes on campus, and we are online or distance only for the rest of the semester and for the summer as well. And a commencement has been postponed, and residence halls will be closed for the remainder of the semester. All meetings and otherwise are canceled or held in a virtual setting, and all the buildings on campus are locked at this time, and only people who have access to the buildings can get in. So that's about it, and that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I appreciate that very much. Representing the hospitality industry, I'm pleased to invite the Executive Director of the CVB, Sherry Morgan.
Good morning, everybody. We're doing our best over here to maintain some semblance of normalcy. We have gone through and adjusted our marketing message. We've moved from inviting everybody to come and enjoy all aspects of Nacogdoches, early on in the process, to asking and advising those people to partake, those people choosing to come and visit Nacogdoches still, to partake in some of our more social distance friendly activities, such as our driving trails. And now we're on that point where we are trying to still maintain order and invite people in, but be conscious about the true efficacy of our efforts to also flatten the curve and to be responsible in that. So absolutely, if people stay home, that's safest for them. And in the long run, that's really ultimately all that matters, is the health and safety of lives. So that's kind of where we are in our messaging right now. In our print media, those ads are done 90 days in advance. some of the publications have allowed us to go in and adjust messaging. And when we have been able to do that, we have done that yesterday. Kelly and I met with our upcoming ads in Texas Monthly and Texas Highways, and we were able to, they're coming out in May, and that's primarily where we co-op and we market the Blueberry Festival. And so we were able to adjust that messaging that still had the promise if it is able to happen, but also to advise people of where to go for the most current and up-to-date information on that major event for our community. Social media wise, we're trying to focus on the positive, keep spirits up, find things that people can do, and still be responsible in their response to the COVID-19 virus. We're staying in daily communication with our lodging partners to see how we can service them. We are seeing hotel occupancy numbers in the single digits. And this for us, especially at the CVB, we are a 501c6. We're a nonprofit, and we are fully funded through 72.5% of the hotel occupancy tax revenue that's generated. So we are really trying to bond together our lodging partners and also our small businesses that help support the tourism industry here in Nacogdoches to see what we can do to use and leverage our social media following to get out messages that can help and aid and show the resiliency of Nacogdoches. We started our own, in that vein, we started our own hashtag campaign, and it is "We Bend, Not Break," and we follow that up and punctuate it with the Daily Sentinel's hashtag NacStrong. We'll be pushing out today a landing page for that on our website that has downloadable graphics that people can print out and display in their store windows. I've been talking with Gary Ashcraft with United Way. I also am proud to serve on that board, and we are working on pushing out information about making masks for our frontline healthcare workers, just to augment, never meant to replace the H95 masks that are being used, but seeing the shortage in those kind of supplies, it's just the CDC has lifted their requirements on that and are advising people to use bandanas or anything that they might have. So we're looking at rallying the community and those that sew, those with kids that could learn how to sew through this effort, and push that message out through United Way, and we'll be pushing it out here from the CVB as well. We're showing up to work every day. We are closed to the public, but our staff is here answering the phones, answering emails, fielding phone calls. The bright side in all of this, and my goodness, if there's ever a time just to latch on to whatever ray of sunshine you can find, we're still getting requests for information to mail out to people that want to come and visit Nacogdoches. So they might be getting a little something extra in their envelope, a little personal note that says, yes, please do come. We're ready for you. And just in the reality of it all, this is our busy season. We wait all year for azalea season to come around, and our sales tax typically will show that, just the amount of day trippers and overnight stays that generates. But it's also big event season for us. So we are preparing some reports on business loss and that economic impact so that we can share that in full transparency with our stakeholders and shareholders and community. And, to echo and piggyback on what Larissa was saying, use this information. It's not the most pleasant information to have to gather, but we can use that to help build a plan and to come back stronger and continue to represent Nacogdoches for the outstanding destination that she is. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that very much. Last but certainly not least on our agenda this morning is the President and CEO of the Nacogdoches Area United Way, Gary Lee Ashcraft. Gary Lee?
Hi there, everybody. How you doing? I've got 5 points that I want to talk about real quick. First off, contact our agencies if you need to. They're really working hard to do what we do, and that's help others that need us. Larissa, I want to throw a kudo to you. I was on campus this morning and ran into Matt Lindsay, who is the chair of our department, and had mentioned that you had gathered up some of the interns that weren't really able to do anything at SFA and had repurposed them for your organization. I think that's excellent. That's beautiful collaboration. Good job. Yesterday, we received a call from Pilgrims Pride. Tara HR gave me a call, and they had 8,000 pounds of chicken, and wanted to know if somebody needed some food. So we, by the way, I have Caroline Garner in here with me and Kenny Reno, our chairman, Caroline, our EVP. Anyway, we contacted Hope, helping other people eat, and they indeed had run out of meat. They have a complete system for pushing food to people who really need it. That's a big deal. Out a sort of a conveyor system of volunteers, and the people who are in need of food will drive through, and they'll drop the sacks of food in their window, in their car. They're also, however, brave as they are, they do have hours. I think it's Tuesday and Thursdays that they're open in the evening. I suspect they're using that same system to feed. Pilgrims provided that 8,000 pounds of food, and it came at the very right time, because Hope had told me, said, man, it's a blessing, because we're running out of meat. And so that's beautiful collaboration between business and nonprofits and that kind of thing. Have had several banks, especially, and other businesses calling, and even agencies, some of the nonprofits, and saying, hey, we're shuttered, we're locked up, not as speedy. If you need volunteers, let us know, and we'll provide a team. So all of you all that are here on this call, Zoom call, please let me know, Caroline know. You can email us. We're here. We're in the office. We're always locked down where we live, but and we're keeping our distance, our social distancing, I think, in here. So there you go. Another thing that's interesting is Love Inc. is doing Patty Goodrum is doing a fantastic job. Her focus is on people who are unemployed suddenly, but however are going to be rehired more than likely. She has funds. I would encourage you all, if you're in the donating mood, push funds her way. If you send a check, just put COVID-19 on the check. It'll be lined in that particular fund. She's going to need money, but to get to the point, what she's doing is taking care of those people who maybe can't handle their rent and things like that. So she needs a couple of things from these folks to validate these people that they're not just taking advantage of the system, and that involves you all. It needs a recommendation from their employer. She's got this up on her website, who to email, patty@lovinnac.org, or let me know, and I'll take care of facilitating that. She'll need a proof of application for unemployment, not that they will get it, just that they have applied. She wants her application filled out you put it on the front porch in their boxes through a slot 24/7, and they need their current lease with their name on it from their landlord. They will check with the landlord, and this is a quick, it's fast track, not a hard validation process. She's already helped SFA's Aramark. There were 18 people in that group that needed help, and she's stood up 18 folks at that particular time. The last thing I'll say is there's another wonderful organization in town, the Greater East Texas Community Action Group, GetCap, that's led by Karen Swinson. They're taking care of utility bills. They're getting lots of calls. If you have team members or people that you know that have issues keeping the lights on, might check in with GetCap. All the numbers can be reached and accessed by the internet. Another person is just doing a great job right next door to us in our same complex is Anita Humphreys, and the East Texas Community Healthcare Group, and their clinic is seeing an abundance of people. They're pushing out prescriptions through a drive-through method, so people don't have to come in. They, like the hospitals, have a protocol. They do have limited test kits. They have tested so far negative, but the protocol will bring the patient right on to a particular spot. They're ready to handle any of the issues, and she, like everybody else, encourages people to really come in to the clinic. If you think you have that, really know that if you possibly can. That's the end of my remarks, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Gary Lee. I appreciate that. What I'd like to do is just cover a couple of points from the chamber standpoint before we go into the questions. First of all, I know many of you folks are hearing from business folks online are hearing from your trade associations about issues related to advocacy. If there's a role the chamber can play in helping to reinforce the messaging, and my board agrees to it, we'll be happy to engage on that. But you're going to have to email me at the chamber, let me know what the request is, and we'll go from there. I do want to remind you folks that on the chamber on the chamber website, we have a dedicated COVID-19 resource page with some extraordinary information that will help you prepare, both in terms of employees, policy, and managing through this challenging time. SBA information as well. I do want to let you know if you'd like to hear from other stakeholders in the community on next week's conference call, a week from today, again, email me and let me know, and I'll be glad to add them in add them to the agenda. With that in mind, I will open it to questions. Again, unmute your phone, identify yourself, please, and ask your question, and hopefully somebody online can help you. Not all at once. Stay controlled. If there any questions at all, I didn't get any email questions in, so I'm assuming that we've covered everything pretty adequately. Any final thoughts from any of the callers? Not necessarily questions.
This is Larissa. I will just reiterate, please follow City of Nacogdoches, Nacogdoches County Emergency Management, and NEDCO on Facebook. That's not just to increase our followers. That's the primary way that we're able to get information out quickly. And this is a rapidly changing situation. So if you want the latest truthful information, you will please follow those three places.
Thank you, Larissa.
Hey, Wayne.
Yes.
This is Chester with the American Red Cross. I appreciate y'all and everything you're doing there in Nacogdoches and for your community. This is not a Red Cross issue, but it's a critical national issue. There's a critical shortage of blood right now in our nation. It was acute beforehand. Obviously, coronavirus has made it even more so. The cancellation of blood drives across the nation is astronomical. The number of units not being collected, astronomical. And so I know one of the big things that is being pushed as part of a response and part of preparedness plan as part of our national emergency is the collection of blood. It's still safe to give blood. I can send you, and I will send you some information about blood collections and kind of the process and all those same things that go on there. They're going to be ramping up some blood drives in Houston to help try to alleviate some of this issue, but it is a critical national issue right now. It is the national emergency.
Chester, thank you for that information. If you get that over to us, we certainly will make sure that it's distributed to our partners in addition to the chamber publications.
I appreciate that, Wayne. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Wayne, this is Tamara from the local blood center, East Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do just want to reiterate what the gentleman just said. We are in need of collections. We are encouraging donors to schedule an appointment to help us alleviate any social distancing issues. We are trying to follow all the guidelines. We're doing the extra cleaning. But if we could continue to get the message out on the emergency management, NEDCO, just, a reminder once a week of, schedule an appointment to donate blood if you're feeling healthy and well. That would help us a lot.
Tamara, I'll assure you that our partners will respond to that. I'm confident. I appreciate that information.
Thank you.
Wayne, this is Larry Kane with the Small Business Development Center at Angelina College.
Go ahead, Larry.
Just want to get the word out that we are primarily working from home, but we are available to answer questions about the SBA disaster loan program and any of the other programs that might come out of the pending legislation. They're asking us not to meet one-on-one with clients, but we are available by phone or email. If people want to email me at lcain@angelina.edu, that's lkane@angelina.edu. We'll be happy to assist best we can.
Thank you, Larry. I will tell you, my board directed me this morning to send out a kind of a written report of this meeting as well, so we'll get that information distributed as well.
Thank you.
Hey, Wayne, it's Lisa King.
Lisa.
I'm actually calling about childcare across the state of Texas. Currently, childcare is considered one of the necessary businesses to remain open. We do all have various regulations that we're following. We have always done the proper sanitation and health screens and all of that. Currently, we all remain on lockdown, which means no one is allowed in the building except children and the actual teachers that work here. No one else is allowed in. Parents are not allowed in. We screen the children outside and bring them in. And that will continue as long as we are mandated by the state. That could change at any minute, but as of right now, we're alive and well.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. I do want to mention a couple of things. One is that the Daily Sentinel and KTRE are highlighting what small businesses are doing in response to the COVID-19 impact. I've got to tell you that the Daily Sentinel in particular has been an unbelievably helpful partner for the Chamber as we attempted to distribute our information. We really appreciate everything that Rick and the staff are doing. Go ahead. Any additional comments?
Hey, Wayne, this is Nancy with the Texas Forest Country Partnership. Just want to say thank you. Everybody's done a great job. And Nacogdoches County is so fortunate to have the resources and the expertise that you have in place. Just to mention a few, the ones that were on the call today, but looking out around the region, just want to commend all of you for coming together in such a great way to take care of this area, but we've got a larger area that can use this as a great example of getting their forces together. So thank you.
We've got a great group of folks here in Nacogdoches, and
Yes, we do.
it's really cool.
Hey, Wayne.
Go ahead.
Wayne, this is Gary Lee. Wanted just thought of this. Want to let you know that many of our partner agencies, including us, are engaged in other counties in our region. They're regional. I checked in yesterday with our board member, Stephanie Ellsworth, who is with her husband, runs the Light and Champion. They news company. Shelby's doing about the same as we. No reports. We've got calls in the San Augustine, the folks there and the leaders there tell us they're doing as well too. So just throwing that out there to be mindful that it's not just us. There's a whole population out there that we need to try to help if we possibly can.
Thank you, Gary Lee. Any other comments? Well, look, we're 3 minutes before the deadline that I set on the conference call of 10:45. I would remind you that we'll institute this unless there's a better vehicle. Weekly, the chamber will respectfully ask our participants to please put it on their schedule for next week as well, so that we can get updates on a weekly basis of what's going on. And I really do appreciate everybody's participation on the call today. We're looking forward to working together on this issue, and let's hope it's going to be a short period of time before we're all back to normal. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
You're welcome.